Good afternoon, everyone. We are excited to continue our Icap webinar series. Today, our voice from the field is AJ Crowell, OKCareerGuide Coordinator, who will be speaking on how to use OKCareerGuide for Icap and career development of students pre-K through 12. We will hear from AJ, and then I will come back and share some final details, and then we will also conclude with the Q&A session. So please, if you're able to, just hold off your questions just for a little bit until the end of the webinar, and we will, I promise, we will address those. And as mentioned, this webinar is being recorded, and we will have it archived on okedge.com in the near future. And so, again, thank you for being here. We're excited. Hope the school year is going wonderful for each and every one of you. So please welcome AJ Crowell, OKCareerGuide Coordinator.
All right. Thank you so much, and thanks for having us here. We're glad to talk about OKCareerGuide and really display that as a resource for everybody to use. I'll go to the next. There we go. So today I'm going to be talking about, give you an overview of OKCareerGuide.org and how that relates to Icap, as well as touching on some support resources we have available for you. I want to show you a step-by-step student experience through the program, how I would do it if I was back in the classroom, and I want to finish off with the admin and reporting side of things. So we'll jump into that in just a second. I know that the title says that we're talking about pre-K through 12. OKCareerGuide really is appropriate for all Oklahomans at all stages of their life. And we just launched an elementary version called Galaxy that is appropriate pre-K through 5th grade. We're not going to talk about Galaxy today, but if you'd like more information, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact info will be on there later. And Galaxy just simply asks those age-appropriate questions of things like, why do people go to work? Where do people go to work? What sort of skills and knowledge do they need when they go to work? How can I learn more about the world of work? And it does that through a space-themed, game-like experience. It's really engaging, provides 6 lessons through there, and it's something that you can implement almost anywhere in your early education experience. And if you'd like more information about that, please feel free to reach out to me. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, OKCareerGuide is a research-based, proven career development process. It is it's a one-stop shop of career development for all Oklahomans provided by the Oklahoma Department of Career Tech. And essentially, it takes users through a process where we learn more about ourselves through some interest assessments. We tie that to education and occupations. We begin to explore what the world of work looks like and how to connect that, again, to those interests that we just took. We build a plan from there and write some goals for our education plan, and then try to connect that to the world of work. We try to see what the health sciences field looks like in the real world, for instance. And that might be through job shadow or internship experience or volunteer type experience. And then, of course, at the end, we hope that that connects to a real-world job. Now, it follows the process for Icap pretty well, and we'll touch base on that here. So the first part of Icap is for our students to take a career and college interest survey. We do that through OKCareerGuide through 3 assessments. There's the interest assessment, so again, learning more about myself and what type of occupations sound most interesting to me, what do I like to get my hands on, and then the skills confidence assessment. So what do I feel comfortable with? What do I think I would be good at? Oftentimes we'll see, let's take health science for instance, an early high schooler might be very interested in the health science field but have very little real world exposure to that, so their confidence will be low. That's an area we would expect to see increase as they take classes that are related to health sciences, get some of that real world experience through like an internship or a job shadow, or exposure through their tech center of what health sciences looks like. And then finally, the work values assessment is really designed to help students identify what's most important to them in the world of work. Is it income? Is it creativity and having the freedom to make their own hours and decide what their work's going to look like with independence? Is it coworkers or safety in the workplace? All that's in there, and these appear throughout the program. 6th and 7th graders will see the interest assessments. At 8th grade, we add in the skills confidence. and then at 9th grade, they'll see all three, starting with the work values. The next part of your ICAP includes written post-secondary and career or workforce-related goals, and then progress towards those goals. Within the system, we tackle that through the My Ed plans and the My Goals section. And we obviously want to do that after we've done the self-exploration and we've begin looking at occupations and the education needed to earn those kind of occupations. The next part is an intentional sequence of courses and then progress towards those towards that second post-secondary goal. We again do that through the My Ed plan, and this is essentially a program of study. So what are your students enrolling in? What classes are they enrolling in? What programs are they enrolling in? And is that tied directly to those interest inventories? How is that related? That's what we want to pay attention to here. We also need to measure academic progress, and that could be through SAT or ACT scores that can be input into the system as additional assessments. It could be credentials or certifications that the student earns, and that can also be uploaded into the system as an extra document or a supporting document. I'll touch base on that later to support the e-profile that we'll take a look at. That final experience for the ICAP is going to be either service learning or a work environment activity. So that could include things like a job shadow or an internship. And again, those need to be related to the interest inventories that they're taking. And we do that through OKCareerGuide by a part of the program called Connect to Business. And that's where we can connect education and students and teachers to local businesses that want to do things like guest speaking, career fairs, business tours. But in addition to that, they can post things like the internships, job shadows, full and part-time work, that sort of thing. So just to recap, some of those highlights would be the 3 assessments within the system. Additionally, as you might see on the screen there, the system has a responsive design. So it works on cell phones, tablets, laptops, desktops. So access to technology shouldn't be too big of an issue based on your needs and resources. Obviously, we want the students to do lots of career and college exploration through the program. I mentioned the occupations, but also all the colleges in Oklahoma are listed inside the program with lots of different, lots of demographic information. How do I apply? What does that process look like? And there's even a function that allows me to reach out directly to the college. Again, the customized education and education plan and goals are a core part of the program that help both individualize the program for the student, but also meet those ICAP requirements. Additionally, within the system, we have job readiness tools, such as resumes, cover letters, and reference sheets. And as opposed to just giving students a blank Word document and expecting them to fill out a resume, this actually pulls some of the information they've already put into the program and gives them prompts on how to fill this out and format it. And we'll touch base on that in just a minute when we go live into the system. And of course, finally, that Connect to Business piece, which bridges the gap between educators and students and the workforce. In terms of support materials, we do have a standalone curriculum called Direct Your Future that's available to all Oklahomans. So if you want to implement that in your classroom, this is perfect for those of you that are doing like teachers as advisors with an advisory period, or if you have a standalone class for career awareness, this is a great product that you can implement. It's free for you. You can download it on the admin side of OKCareerGuide or from our website, or you can shoot me an email and I'll be sure to get that to you. It has 11 modules in there that are appropriate for high school, and about half of those are designed, also have components that are appropriate for middle school, so you can incorporate this at the lower grades as well. It is really turnkey ready, or as we like to say, add water and stir. It has your PowerPoints, your handouts, your lesson plans, your activities to go along with that lesson plan, and it really is scripted for the educator to walk in with just a few minutes of preparation and know exactly where to pick up and have a meaningful career conversation with their students. So it's not treated as a box to check, but we're really showing our students, demonstrating that this is a valuable part of their education. And it's customizable for you as well. Now, if you are implementing this in the various courses or more core curriculum, we do also provide some one-off or double lessons that are tied directly into language arts, science, math, the creative arts that you can download as well. So you can, again, have those career conversations within those courses as well. What you're seeing now is inside the state of Oklahoma is the different career clusters, and on top are the career fields. And I bring this up because what you'll notice throughout OKCareerGuide is these colors show up over and over, and these icons show up over and over. And this is to get students thinking about the 16 national career clusters, which many of us are probably familiar with, but identifying how that relates to what they had just said they're interested in when they took that assessment. So I also put it on there just to show you an example of schools who have really taken the Icap idea and run with it. Tahlequah, for instance, has taken some of these things and they put it up throughout the hallways in their school. They took the icons for the different career clusters and they posted those outside the classrooms so that I, as a student walking in, I knew exactly how this class related to my Icap, and it was all of a sudden a lot more relevant for the students. Additionally, educators, all educators in the building should be able to talk about the Icap process and ask students questions about what they're exploring, administrators as well, counselors as well. Those are just some best practices that we've seen have a strong impact on the culture of the school, where career awareness really became an important part of the education process. It's also an opportunity to start having these conversations that we call the 1, 2, 4 or more. So once the student has explored their occupations through their awareness, we can now start saying, let's take a look at the health fields cluster and take a look at the jobs that you could get with a 1-year certification or some on-the-job training. What about a 2-year certification or an associate's degree, and then further on to a 4-year degree or more? And it's just a real natural way to begin having that, what do you want to be when you grow up conversation, but tied, again, directly to their interests and right there within the program. So we're going to go live into the system here in just a moment. And if you already have an account and you want to follow along, great. If you don't have an account yet, I'd recommend that you can use the sample student account. That'd be sample student for your login and sample student for your password. This is one that we use in our training sessions. If you've not been to our homepage, it's OKCareerGuide.org. And when you have a student get ready to log in, they can either go to the gray create an account box, and we'll walk through that step by step, or you can do a mass upload of students. That's an Excel spreadsheet that you fill out. If you'd like that, you can download it from the admin side, or I can email it out, or you can contact client engagement, and I'll provide that number here in a minute as well. But that for the Excel spreadsheet, for the mass uploads, you simply import specific student data, and then Cooter, the maker of OKCareerGuide, can get them put into the system. But I found it really easy and simple to walk students through the registration process. I plan for about 5 or 7 minutes to make that happen. So once they click that Create an Account button and they select their role as a middle or high school student, it'll ask them to enter their current grade level and their graduation year. And the important part I want to highlight here is the school center or org. And this is where you want to make sure that the student enters your school. All schools in Oklahoma have been put into the system, so just make sure they're typing in your school's information so that you can capture their data. Next, we'll enter some of the basic demographic information, first name, last name. I wanted to highlight this contact me part. Students sometimes struggle with providing their email or text message, not sure why they need to do that. This allows them to recover their password. Now, I'm sure your students never forget their usernames or passwords, but mine always did. So we made sure that we put in valid information here to recover that information. Additionally, as an administrator, I can push messages out to students. And so if I sign up by email or for text message, that'll allow for that to happen as well. Next, on step 3, they'll enter their desired username and password information. And it's our recommendation that you definitely should use a standardized approach to this for your whole school or district. So if you have an email that you'd like them to use, or if you have a first name, last name, student number combination, we strongly encourage you to pay attention to that for all students and standardize the process for username and password as well. If a student signs up and they get a little red error that the username is already in use, there's a good chance that they maybe use the product at another school, and I can show you how to transfer them into the system. If they're emphatic that they've never done that before, then just add a birth month or birthday on there to complete the enrollment. Step 4 asks for some basic demographic information, and then we'll click the Sign Me Up button, and that'll take you to the home page. This is the first page that you see upon logging into OKCareerGuide. It's like the dashboard or the home page. And I'd like to draw your attention, I think of it as kind of three distinct sections. On the left side, we have the left column navigation, and this serves as a step-by-step process and how we'll navigate throughout OKCareerGuide here in just a moment. The middle section is sort of the core area. That's where we see the assessments, the assessment results. When we're taking the assessments, that's where all the questions will be, and as we're digging through the content, that's where it will all populate. And then we also have the right side, which is in My Next Steps. This serves kind of like a checklist for your students to know what's the next thing on their to-do list. The completed task bar will fill up as they complete those tasks and check the boxes. And those little steps, those whispers or hints for them, are little links that will take them through the program as well. So we are going to go into the system now.
Just right, give it just a minute.
Sure. We'll give it just a moment to pop up.
Should have pulled that up for you.
Oh, no, you're fine. We're thinking about it. Well, maybe it's up. Where is it up? There we go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and type in OKCareerGuide.org. And that takes me to our home page where I would take a student through the create an account process. But since I have my account, I'm going to go ahead and log in under OKCG login. And now I'm at my dashboard. Now, since I've already taken these assessments, they're already filled out and populated here, and we'll walk through that in just a moment. But I do want to highlight here at the top right of the screen, where it welcomes me to the program, I have a drop-down box that will take me to my account settings. This is often the first place that I'll ask students to go. One, if you have a student who had a username issue and they were able to get into the program, this is where they can change their school information. So if they are transferring to you from a different school that was using OKCareerGuide, this is where they'll hit that little pencil and type in your school's information and get that put into the system. Additionally, if you have created a sample account and you had entered your school's information, I want you to be sure to change that to ODCTE training. That is our training pool, and the reason we want you to do that is so that any assessment information that you put into the program, we don't want that to compromise the data for your students when we're running reports. So this is a safe hold for all dummy information, if you will. I do also want to show you that when a student, and this is a great activity for students to do in the spring, is to come here, or the first time they log in the next year, they can change their grade level right here, as well as inviting a parent. Obviously, parent involvement is critical and an important part of this process, and there's a very simple way that they can get parents on board with this program. It gives the parent access to the results that the student has from all the assessments. It allows the parents to see the education plan that they've built and approve of that, as well as any of the job readiness tools that have been put in the system as well. And so they would just enter their parent's information, as well as the email or text message for the parent, and then it'll send this unique access code to the parent. So I'm now going to go back to the home page, so I can either click home here or home over here on the left column navigation. So after a student has done that, I would encourage them to take their interest assessment. These take about 5 to 7 minutes for them to complete. So the work values one takes about 10 minutes. It's a little bit longer. So in total, they could probably be done with the process in under half an hour. So it is something that could be done generally in one class period, although it might be a good idea to kind of stagger these out. And taking the assessments in OKCareerGuide is worked into the Direct Your Future curriculum. I believe it's in lesson 4 or 5. So if that is something that you're implementing into your class, everything we're going through right now is part of that curriculum. So I've now clicked into the results from my assessment, and it automatically pulls me to my top career pathways. If you remember from that Oklahoma map that had all the career clusters in there, think of that as a tiered approach to occupations. We have our career clusters, the 16 national career clusters, and then underneath that we have our 79 career pathways, and then beneath that we have specific occupations, so sort of a tiered approach. A student can click through here and discover that, indeed, performing arts does sound like something Little Rumble Bison might be most interested in. And I want you to notice that my star here for performing arts is gold, and that means that that's something I have favorited because it's super important to me. That'll make it easier when I go back as a student to review the things that I've found the most interesting, as well as pulling up a one-page report of all my favorites, which would be really helpful for career teacher or parent-teacher conferences or IEP meetings, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a moment. If a student is looking at the career pathways and they're not sure that quite fits them, they can also hit this blue link that adjusts it to the national career clusters. And now I can see how I rank on all 16 national career clusters. And I can explore those as well. And again, you see that I've got some of these starred off because those are super interesting to me. I'm going to go back to the pathways for now. I have these tabs across the top. Zoom out just a tad. Well, that didn't change anything. So I have these tabs across the top that allow me to explore those results, allow me to explore occupations tied directly to my results. I can view some sample education plans, as well as majors to explore based on those results. And this Person Matches tab is a pretty neat tab. What it does is it highlights some careers that might be interesting to me, such as criminal justice instructor, adoption coordinator, storyteller, professional storyteller, and allows me to click on that link and view a sort of career interview with those individuals. I think this would be a great project for students to do. If they know someone that has one of these occupations, awesome. Have them do a live interview, and these can be some of the questions that they ask the individual. But I didn't know any criminal justice instructors when I was in high school, so this gives me an opportunity to find out what does that look like in the day-to-day life. These are answers provided by someone in that occupation, and so I can take a look at what type of skills are important for that occupation. Where do you see yourself in the future? You know, we want to promote that lifelong learning process, and also that career is a lifelong process. It's not just something that a box that just gets checked. One of my coworkers said that they could see this as a neat activity where students take this and maybe they dress up as their favorite related career, and they come in and provide an interview for the other students. So that might be one way to really help them dig into this material and make it personal to them. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my Home tab. Actually, yeah, let's go back to the Home tab. And now I can explore my occupations and explore them based on my results. This left column navigation here, this is probably the next place I would send my students. And this is really where we're going to dig in. If you're thinking about the Icap process, we're really still on that first block of assessment and exploring and learning about ourselves in the assessments. So here are a bunch of careers that are relevant to me based on the information that Little Rumble has put in there. If a student, and you will have this, if a student doesn't get the type of careers they were expecting here or has a very limited field of results, I would open up this filter box and I would adjust the education level. And this is, again, another place to have a good conversation about what type of careers are available to me if all I do is graduate high school. In this case, 0. But if I get a little bit of on-the-job training, what opens up for me? Well, that expands a little bit more. If I get some 2-year, 3-year, or a bachelor's degree, then what becomes much more available to me. So have them play around with that and find out what really fits their needs. I'm going to go ahead and dive into the music director's occupation because, as you can see, it checks my interests, my skills, and the things that I think are valuable in the workplace. And I've started. So now that I'm looking inside an actual occupation, if you remember we talked about the clusters, the pathways, and now we're all the way down to a specific occupation, I get a broad overview of that occupation. I can watch a video to see what that looks like in the real world, and I get some really quick facts like what type of money I can make doing this job, what type of education do I need for this job, is this a occupation that's growing or decreasing in the field. I like these tabs across the top. We kind of think of it as a Wikipedia page for this occupation. I'm going to click on the tasks and conditions, And this serves as sort of a job, kind of like a job posting or a job description. These are the specific things that someone as a music director could be expected to do within the workplace. The next tab is also a favorite of mine, the interests, skills, and work values. If you have a student who feels like, I don't know why it recommended this career to me, it doesn't quite make sense why it said I should be a music director. Well, this tab provides a more generalized approach. What are the things that a music director likes to do? What are they interested in? So these are more general or generic statements and replicate similar things that were shown on the interest inventory. And so they might see some of these and think, oh, I do like talking to others to convey information effectively. I do like teaching, and this is a great place for them to dig in if they're struggling with understanding why did they get the results they got. Of course, the next tab, our education experience, allows us to learn what type of education I need for this job. And this is actually tied to different schools within Oklahoma. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Visual and Performing Arts programs of study, and I can learn broadly what could I expect to do in that type of a major, and then what schools right here in Oklahoma offer that major. How many students do they have enrolled in programs similar to this? We'll take a dive into the schools here in just a moment, but I'm going to go back to the other page for now. I can also take a look at the salary and outlook, and I can adjust that. Some of these occupations also have information based on the region, and so I can adjust that as well. The related occupations is a great place to explore, again, for them to really dig in similar jobs that are related to what they said. They're not quite sure where they're going to go. I think I would recommend that your students are pulling down anywhere from 5 to 10 occupations that they're most interested in. And so this gives them a chance to really see what's similar to that and expand that list. The additional information almost always takes them to a professional body or some external source to learn more about that occupation. Again, back in the left column navigation, I could explore occupations based on the career clusters and pathways. I could explore college majors related to my assessment results, and I can also explore occupations based on a title. If a student is just dead set on a specific job and this program isn't telling them that it's a good fit for them, they can always go in here and search by title to learn a little bit more about that occupation. And that could be an eye-opening experience for the student or not. The next tab down here is exploring majors. And I can, again, explore majors based on assessment results. And this is one of those areas where I want to be sure that I'm adjusting the filter levels so it's showing me what's most applicable to me based on the desired level of education I want to receive. I'm going to go ahead and expand that back to a 4-year degree. And I'm going to choose music theory and composition because it lines up with all 3 of my, my assessment results. And again, I get that overview of what I could expect in that type of major. And here are the schools in Oklahoma that provide that type of major. So I'm going to click on OCU. I've starred them because that sounds, OCU the stars. That sounds applicable to me. And here I go. Here's some basic information about them. Who do I contact? How do I apply? Here's some demographic information on what type of students or cohort I would have there. What's the academics and majors they focus on? What does the application process look like? How much does it cost to go to this school? And that sort of information. So this is definitely an area that you want your students to explore once they know their occupations they're interested in, to start writing down, what are the top schools? Give me a list of 2 or 3 or 5 schools do you want to go to. How much money does it cost to go there? Is that realistic? Is that feasible? Do we need to start looking for scholarships? Scholarships is another area down here within OKCareerGuide that I can search for the different types of scholarships. There's 250 listed right now, and I can adjust these filters. These are the ones that are appropriate for Oklahomans, and I can adjust any of them, whether or not if I have any religious affiliation, military service, if I have special interests, my GPA, so I can really target which application or which scholarships I'm looking for. I do want to take just an aside and mention that there's a Finance 101 portion now in OKCareerGuide. And if you're doing a personal financial literacy or you're working your Icap into that level of class, there's a lot of content on here now to walk students through the concepts in personal financial literacy. So this is definitely something I would explore and have my students explore as well. So back to thinking about Icap, we've really covered that first box of exploring myself, exploring what I'm interested in, and what does that look like in the world of work, and what kind of education do I need to make that happen. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go down the list, and I'm going to go to my goals. This is where I'm going to start writing those post-secondary and workforce goals. And I'm going to measure if I've completed them or not as well. So we'll go ahead and add a goal. And if I need some help, if I'm struggling, I'm not sure how to write a goal or what that looks like, if I've never done that before, we get a little pop-up box that reminds us how to write a SMART goal. What should that entail? What kind of things should that include? So I'm going to go ahead and write a 9th grade workforce goal. And this is a current goal, or this is going to be a high school goal. This is a career goal. And you know what? I want some job shadow experience. So I'm just going to write job shadow in performing arts. And when do I want to get that done? We're going to put the end of the year and have that, maybe we won't. We'll put it next week. We're going to be really ambitious. Put that next week. So I save that in there. I don't know if you saw that I could actually add steps. So if it's a complicated goal, I can actually add more steps to it in case it's a multi-step process to get that done. And then I can mark it as complete and monitor my progress there as well. And again, these should be tied to the interest inventories that I've already taken. And this is where we can track our career goals and our academic goals, whether we want to do them during high school or if it really needs to be done post-high school. So that covers that. We'll move next to the My Ed plans. Now that I've done this exploration, I've written a few goals, I've sequenced that out a little bit. Now I'm going to create an education plan. So I click Add New Plan. I'm going to name this, we already have a performing arts plan, 2. And I can adjust what grade level that I'm in. It's important that they choose their area of study, if they're in the core curriculum or college and work ready. And so here I have essentially my rubric for the rest of high school. Now, preloaded into OKCareerGuide is every course offered in Oklahoma. You can customize that. If you don't happen to offer Russian 12 in your school, you can customize this list. I will tell you that it does take a little bit of time on the front end to weed out those other courses that you're not offering, but it's very simple to update from here on out. If you'd like more information on that, if you'd like that spreadsheet, feel free to send me an email or you can download it from our website and we'll get that to you and you can start working on that. For now, I'm going to go ahead and go in as using all of courses in Oklahoma. So I'm going to select that I'm taking English 1, and I'm going to do that for the rest of my 9th grade year. I'm going to make sure that I've got that completely filled out for the rest of the courses. As we approach our 10th, 11th, and 12th grade years, it might be more appropriate to start adding in some of those miscellaneous electives, some post-secondary plans if we're going to take some concurrent enrollment. If I'm going to a tech center, I want to be sure and incorporate some of the programs that I'm using there, incorporate those here that they're reflected on the My Ed plan. If I'm struggling, I'm not really sure what I should put on there, I'm not sure what it should entail, I can use some sample ed plans here at the top. And what this does is it takes me to the different career clusters, and let's say I'm very interested in the performing arts, or, this takes me out to ACPE and different education plans. I can view some sample education plans, what type of courses I should be taking and looking at for there. I'm going to move back and show you my completed ed plan. Well, it's not quite completed. Rumble's still in process. He's still a 9th grader. But the student can save and submit for approval, and you as a counselor and admin can go in and approve these education plans or provide feedback. Hey, your 10th grade looks great, but your 11th grade, I don't think those credits add up, or that doesn't look like a solid line of study. But nonetheless, I'm able to put that all here. I could print that out, bring it with me to enrollment, or bring it with me to parent-teacher conferences, that sort of thing. That's definitely where I would go. So we've covered the assessments part of Icap. We've covered the goals portion, and the MyEd plans. The academic progress is just an ongoing part that you would want to incorporate. And before I move to the business part, I do want to highlight over here under Plan for Education, Explore Majors. Under the Explore Majors tab, there's this handy thing that says Advisor Summary Report. That provides all the things that I have favorited in the system, and this is absolutely something I would print off and bring with me to an IEP meeting or bring with me to parent-teacher conference or enrollment to have that conversation with the student. Okay, you've selected that early childhood is something that's important to you. Why did you select that? Have that conversation with them. We can take a look at those favorite occupations and explore why that's important to the student, what research they've pulled together for the occupation, if that fits their lifestyle, and move on from there. So now I'm going to move to some of the content that's right beneath there. The plan for work. If your students need to see some job sample activities, this provides a resume that's pre-filled with some of the information that they provided when they signed up. And this just gives them a chance, if they've never filled out a resume, this gives them a chance to see what that should look like. They can preview or print that off. If they've never done an interview, this is a great tool if you're working on those soft skills. This is a great tool for them to see what the interview process looks like, how to prepare for it, what are some questions that they should expect to answer, what are some questions that they should definitely avoid, and warning signs of a workplace that they may not want to be at. How do they dress? How do they wear? What should they wear for that? And then there's videos that they can watch in there as well. Under the Find a Job, it just talks about how to explore job openings, where to look for that type of work. And now we're going to hit the Connect to Business piece. Connect to Business is designed to meet that fifth need of Icap, where they're able to connect with workplaces in their local community. Here under the business profiles, I can take a look at which workplaces match my cluster, where they're located throughout the state. And then you as an educator, and I'll show you this in a moment, as an educator can download a list of these businesses to determine who said that they would come do a career fair, or who would come do some guest speaking for my class. Additionally, the students can search for opportunities that are available on the Connected Business to see where could I go do an internship if I'm related in the marketing, if the marketing field is my most relevant one. Who do I contact? How do I get connected with them? What kind of job experience would I need to do? How do I apply? That sort of stuff. It's all located under the Connected Business piece, and definitely something you want your students to be exploring. So we've covered most of this, and it's really been building to some of this, the My Documents and My Job Search tools down here. This is where students will upload a resume or create a resume. When creating a new resume, again, it imports some of that basic information from the system, but it also prompts them to add a work experience, education, language. What types of honors and awards have they earned? So rather than create a new resume, I'm going to pull up one that Little Rumble has already created. And I can see that I can adjust it to be chronological or functional. I can adjust it to be a contemporary or elegant so that it matches really what I'm whatever I'm applying for, whether that's a scholarship or a job shadow experience. I can take a quick preview of what it should look like based on how I adjust those filters. Do I want it to look contemporary or do I want it to look professional? It helps them with the formatting again so that they're not quite sitting in front of a blank Word document, and then they can download it as a Word or as a Word document or as a PDF. Similarly with the cover letters, it walks them through that process. They can view sample cover letters and watch a video on how to format that and what it should look like. So there's lots of content within the system. It includes little prompts like including the hiring manager's information. I promise those are things that high schoolers aren't thinking about. And then some examples. What should I put in an opening paragraph? What should that look like? So again, just little hints and nudges. The next section down here, the My Documents section, provides a chance for students to upload supporting documents. So whether that is a certification or an attendance award, or if they had a project that they're really particularly proud of and they want to take pictures of that and upload that here, certainly do that as it's developmentally appropriate. And as we upload that, it builds to this e-profile that I've been hinting at. The e-profile is a customizable web page that serves the student to attach to an email. For instance, if I was applying for a scholarship or admissions or an internship, I would certainly want to add this to my email and follow up with the hiring manager. Hey, thank you for taking time to speak with me or looking over my application. Here's a little bit about me. I can include my resume information as well as those portfolio items. So Rumble here has included a headshot. He's included some certificates and awards he's earned. If he's going for that community play lead, then that's what he would want to follow up with. This is definitely something that I think I would use as a teacher. I would have this completely filled out, and on one of those first or second days of the classroom when we're introducing one another and getting to know, I would probably dive off of this and use this as a chance to show why these are some of my favorite occupations, how I got into the position that I'm in, and just learning a little bit more about me. So that covers most of what I wanted to show you within OKCareerGuide for the student experience. Obviously, you're not going to have them sit down and do all that within an hour. This is something that should be staggered throughout their process, throughout their academic career with you. I do want to add one last part on this e-profile section. This is all private until the student hits the Publish, Save, and Publish button. And even then, it is still not searchable, so I can't go on the internet and search for the student's information. I actually have to get this unique link to send out, and that's what I would attach to my emails or whatever I'm sending out. So we want to make sure that we're preserving students' data and their privacy. So I'm going to go ahead and sign out. And now I'm going to show you how to log into the admin side. So I'm back at the home page, and I click the login drop down, and you see that I have an administrator login. So that's where I'm going to create that. If you are trying to create your teacher account, but you're not sure you're hitting a wall, I imagine the wall you're hitting is asking for your organization access code. And that serves as a unique school identifier so that you're looking at the data that's most relevant to you. In order to find that information, you want to talk with whoever your local OKCareerGuide advocate is, or who already has access to the system. They can get that in the admin side under the administration tab. All the access codes are right there for you, and that's how they can get you uploaded into the system. It's a simple process, but you do need that information. If you're not sure who your local advocate is, we want you to call the 877 number. This is at the bottom of almost every OKCareerGuide page. If you hit help or contact us, it'll direct you to this 877-999-6227 number. They are that's the client engagement folks that are there from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, so they are available to help you with any of your needs there. So before diving in there, this one, I'm going to jump back into the PowerPoint. That looks like the right one. Okay, here we go. So once you're in the admin system, there's that number again, the 877-999-6227. You'll see an overview snapshot of the users that you have on the program. You can see how many are registered, what are they most interested in terms of clusters or pathways. You'll notice the tabs at the top. There's a Reports tab, a Tool and Resources tab, an Administration tab, and a Connected Business tab. Under the Tools and Resources is where you'll find the Direct Your Future curriculum. It's also where you'll find those one-off lessons that fit into your arts classes, language arts classes, sciences. It's also where you can find any quick guides if you'd like to print those out or take a look at the quick guide to get started as a refresher for the system. And so we'll go from there. Under the Reports tab, this is where I can download reporting for who is registered for the program, who's taken assessments, who hasn't taken an assessment, who started some of those processes but hasn't completed yet. Same thing with the education plans and the job preparedness tools. We're going to go to the core reports. This is an example of an aggregate report for the career interest assessment. And I can see most of my students are interested in the human services and the education and training sectors. So if I'm thinking about a career fair, I want to make sure I'm including people from those sectors to bring in. Other reports that you can run from here include an individual report, and that provides a list of all students who have taken a specific test. You can click through the link and look at students' career development information as well. This is also where you can run a one-page summary, which is very similar to what we looked at within the system, the summary advisor report. So the one-page summary provides how the student has done on all 3 assessments, and I would, again, bring that to a parent-teacher conference or an IEP meeting for sure. We're currently looking at the aggregate reports, and we can show grade levels and specific student populations. When you go into this report, you can really narrow it down if you're looking at just boys or just girls, or looking at it by ethnicity, and that's how you can really start to identify, are you targeting the non-trads, non-traditional people for those programs? How do you increase their enrollment? What are they most interested in? And then additionally, there's a top 3 report which shows you what are the students' top 3 career cluster or pathway interests. So that could be useful if you're planning a career fair or just a parent-teacher conference as well. The registration report, this will show you the students and users who have registered based on time frames, so you can put those time parameters on there. This would be a great thing to show how your students are doing in terms of the progress on their Icap. The next one is the assessments report. This shows me which students have not started an assessment, who has started one but not completed it, and then who has completed an assessment. And again, this is all under the reporting tab. Then we have the education plans report, and this will allow me to run a list again of who has started an education plan, who hasn't started one, who is one that is pending for me to go in and improve, and who is one that's completed or has started but not completed it. I mentioned Connect to Business. You can download a list of those businesses who are willing and happy to engage with you as educators. They'll tell you if they're interested in participating in a job fair or career fair, a business tour, or even loaning equipment based on what they've entered into the system. So I believe that takes us through most of what I wanted to show you. So we've got some time now, about 10 minutes for questions. If you've got any, I don't think anybody's pulled any in yet. And I know Chelsea had some things she wanted to share as well. But you've got my contact info in there. Again, my name is AJ Kroll from the Oklahoma Department of Career Tech, and I am serving as your OKCareerGuide coordinator. Feel free to call me at 743-5105 or try my super complicated email, aj.kroll@careertech.ok.gov. I'll be sure to get back with you as soon as possible. Thanks so much.
Thank you, AJ. Very informative, and we wanted to ensure that we had both of the Icap online tools available so that you could see that. And again, it'll be recorded and placed on OK Edge, so that way you can see the useful tools in OK College Start and the useful tools in OK Career Guide. I want to continue on and let you know about our next Icap webinar. Please mark your calendars. This is going to be September 19th. And I'm actually going to be the voice from the field on this webinar, and I want to really share with you some updates and resources. I know the school year has just kicked off, so we want to make sure that you are fully aware of all the new resources, the resources we kind of showcased last March, and just various conferences and things like that that are happening in reference to Icap and in reference to business engagement and work-based learning. And also want to let you know, if you were able to join us on the road for Engage OK, we were excited to see you. Now online, you can access the Engage OK presentations. We had 3 various presentations on Icap, and then 3 various presentations that were on work-based learning, guidance on post-secondary opportunities, and then how to build those business and education partnerships. So that is the direct link for you. I will be emailing this presentation out as soon as I get the link, so look for it on Friday, so you will have access to this, and so you'll have access before we actually put it on OKEdge.com. The next thing I want to let you know is that we have some upcoming professional development. Specifically, we're going to be hosting monthly Icap meetings. The very first one kicks off on August 27th. So please mark your calendar, and then those are the links that you can go ahead and register for those. And this will just, Marissa Lightsey, who's the Executive Director of College and Career Readiness, will actually be overseeing these trainings and just getting more of an update and keeping you all in the loop of all things Icap. So please go ahead and register for that. And then if you need to know any upcoming professional development that the College and Career Readiness Office will be hosting, I gave you the direct link there as well. And then these are currently some Icap resources, especially if you have not seen the Icap implementation toolkit. And this is the first year of our Icap, so please check that out. It was really made for you in mind by a cohort of different educators who just thought, okay, how would I like to hear this in my perspective, my lens? And so it has a suggested Icap plan and process, so please check that out. And then OKEdge.com, that is going to be your main hub website for all resources that are related to anything students, so that's ranging from elementary all the way to high school, anything that's relevant to business and community, anything that's relevant to parent engagement, and anything that is relevant for you as an educator. So that is your good hub for all of these resources. And then last but not least is that OSD Connect. And if you haven't accessed that, and I will walk us all through a lot of these resources on September 19th, so please come back for that webinar. But that is a good tool to start connecting with business and industry and connecting and kind of seeing AJ showcase what the national career fields look like and all of that. So we will be showcasing that and breaking it down a little bit more extensively. So again, September 19th, you'll see that. But if you want to register, that's the link for you. Always want to say stay connected with us. This is our newsletter. It's the College and Career Readiness newsletter. So if you haven't signed up for that, that's where you're going to get a lot of updates. And especially if you signed in today, you got it from our new student support newsletter. So we will have both of those newsletters. One will be really focused on the counselor perspective, and then one will be focused on career tech, higher ed, business and community perspective, and educators. Please don't forget to follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, just to stay up to date and in the know on all things Icap and college and career readiness and business engagement. And then we have a new system that we really are trying to streamline our communication to you. Since our Office of College and Career Readiness is now complete, we have officially hired a new Executive Director of Academic Counseling, who is Petra Woodard. And if you haven't met her, she was at Engage OK. She's phenomenal, and I will get her in front of your eyesight as well. But this Office of College and Career Readiness, it consists of Marissa Lightsey, who's the Executive Director of College and Career Readiness. It consists of Petra Woodard, who is the Executive Director of Academic Counseling, and it consists of myself, who I am the Executive Director of Work-Based Learning and Industry Engagement. So this means if you have questions about Icap, if you have questions about OCAS course codes, those subject codes, if you have questions about graduation requirements and transcripts, if you have questions about internships, work-based learning, how do you really engage industry and business, we are the ladies here for you to help and serve you in any capacity that you need. To help, again, make that streamlined process for us, if you will click on that link, we have a new contact form, so that way it'll get to us and quickly, so you can have a quick response, because I know sometimes you have our email address, but again, we're just trying to streamline it so we make sure that we're not missing any questions that are out there that you have of us. So we're excited for that. Again, that link will link to OKEdge.com. So as I said earlier, that's going to be your hub for everything resource information pertaining to college and career readiness. And then last but definitely not least, I want to just thank you so much for coming and attending today. Thank AJ for coming and making the drive up here. And then also want to answer any questions that you may have. So I know the chat box, I'm going to open it up. If you have a question, please go ahead and, oh, it's already there. It was there. Okay, so if you have any questions, please input it into the chat box at this time. If not, again, on OKEdge.com, you have that contact us, and when you get this PowerPoint, you will have AJ's email and phone number so you can contact him as well. But I'm going to give a little pause for any questions at this time. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much. I hope your school year is off to a good start, and we are here if you need us. We will see you again. Remember, September 19th, we will see you back here. Have a great evening.